Good evening and welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town. Tonight you're going to really see why we are such a great town as we describe a scene from several weeks ago in Avenel where people were saved, their lives were saved because of quick actions by a citizen, quick actions by our police department, quick actions by our fire department. There was a fire at an apartment complex on Woodbine Avenue directly across from School 23 in Avenel. 12 units in the building, 6 on the left, 6 on the right. 5 of the 6 on the left were occupied, all 6 on the right were occupied. A fire started somewhere on the bottom toward the front, and a citizen happened to be driving by and saw the flames, immediately called 911, then proceeded to hit her horn, go up and knock on doors. The police arrived instantly and went literally door to door, knocking on windows, getting people up, waking them up, getting them out safely. The 5 of the 6 on the left side basically escaped with whatever they were wearing, and that's all they had. The other 6 escaped. Their apartments were damaged, heavy water damage, heavy smoke damage. But the great news is that everybody got out safely. And it's nothing short of miraculous. Had this woman at 4:12 in the morning not been driving by, if she didn't stop at 7-Eleven on her way home from dropping some family members off on a trip that she wasn't supposed to even make, but she did a favor for some family members and said, I'll take you home after a family gathering. Otherwise, she would have been sound asleep in the next apartment building, and who knows what might have happened. I haven't seen her yet. She's coming. We have a couple people that lived in the apartment complex here. We have our police and our fire departments, and of course I'm going to talk to Kenya Smithson when she gets here and thank her. But for now, I want to start with the Avenel Fire Department. And I'm going to let Corey Spiller talk about this because he was on the scene. Chief LBR from Avenel Fire, and you guys can all maybe come up and explain, Corey, everything that you saw that day, since you're better able to explain it than I am.
Thank you, Mayor. Fire guys, come on up. So, good evening. We have myself, I'm Corey Spiller, as well as Councilman, I am the fire official. This gentleman here is Eamon Elbayar, Chief of the Department. We have Chris Narodi, he's the President of the Fire Company, and Dean Manenti, he's the President of the Board of Fire Commissioners. We've all been doing this a little bit of time. This was really extraordinary on the actions of what everybody did, starting with the civilian, and then PD, and then the fire department. When you have something like this, with vinyl siding is very hot. It's very beautiful, but it's very hot, and that's what that went up. It just went up like a lava. It went up like a volcano. And you know what happens in this day of age when somebody pulls over, and you know it's why there's always traffic when there's an accident, the rubbernecking, and they stop, and oh my God, look at this fire. Okay, this building's on fire. What should I do? Let me record it. I should call 911. A lot of people don't do that. This person stopped, got out, 4:10 in the morning, started banging on doors. What's so just extraordinary about this fire is the fire consumed all the balconies on the left side and consumed where you exit the building. There's 2 exits, obviously, but your force of habit. I was in the grammar schools today talking about fire prevention, 2 ways in, 2 ways out, always know. So, you know, you're always forced to go right to that door, and you would have got there and you would have froze. If this little woman didn't start banging on the doors, we're talking about a different scenario. So, I just want to again thank everybody, to the tenants. I always say property can be replaced, people can't. I'm sure it's not what you really want to hear when you're losing everything, but once the dust settles and you have a little bit of time. So just so grateful to everyone. I think the police department, some of them are secret firemen because they put ladders up a heck of a lot better than I could. So thank you very much, and Chief, would you like to say anything?
Sure. Thank you. Chief Eamon Elbayar. I just wanted to say, like the mayor said, Woodbridge is the best town around. We had not only the best town around, we have the best firefighters in town. We all moved quick. We did what we had to do. We saved property, lives, and you know everybody went home safe, and you know, thankful for that. That's all I had to say.
All right. Peter, Chris, Dean.
Dean Manenti, President of Board of Fire Commissioners. I just want to recognize the fire department and these officers for exemplary performance in their duty. Other than knocking on doors, I was informed that some of you actually stretched 5-inch hose to the hydrant, which is critical to get the water supply inside for us to get a good stop on the fire. So, like Corey said, we may solicit some applications for you guys to give us a hand in the future. Maybe put some gear in your car to give us a hand. What it did show was we had limited manpower that night, and we have some limited resources, but the great thing was emergency services in the town of Woodbridge really came together. The police department worked with the fire department, we worked with EMS, the CERT team was out there, OEM was out there, mutual aid, county mutual aid came out, and the big thing was we all worked together, and that's really what community is about. And that's what this community is about, is working together. All right, when the bell goes off, all differences, everything gets left where we're at, and we come together and we protect this town. And thank you again for your performance. Chief, again, I told you last year, excellent job. You continue to shine and represent the fire department in such a great manner. And thank you again for your performance. Chris, Corey, excellent job as you continue. Corey's also our fire official. And I've had the pleasure to serve with these gentlemen for over 25 years. So it's a great place to be. So again, congratulations to everyone, and just keep doing it, man. Just keep working together. So,
And ironically, the chief was just honored Sunday at the community service
for his community service. So congratulations, Chief. Well earned, well deserved.
Last question, were you on the scene 10 years ago at the fire right behind there?
Yes.
So the building right behind it, there's 1,000 units of apartments in the whole complex of those three.
Was that 50 units, that whole portion?
Yeah, 50, yeah, but there's 1,000 people that live in those three apartment
Yes,
complexes.
yes.
And this apartment fire was right next to the building that
Behind
burned
it.
10 years ago.
Right behind it. Yes.
So ironic.
Yeah.
Congratulations, thanks for everything.
36, 37, 38.
All right, now I'd like to recognize the Woodbridge police officers who are on the scene and ask them to come up and be recognized. I'll start with Sergeant Charles Staub. Officer William G. Snyder. Officer James Yancey. Officer Matthew Murdoch. Officer Riley Egan. Ryan Trudell. Okay, just like we did with having Corey explain it, since he knows it a lot better, I'd like to ask Sergeant Staub if he would explain, since you were in charge of the scene that night, if you could explain the situation and what not each person did, but what the group did and how you saved lives.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. I have to say first and echo the mayor's comments that the woman who called, I know her first name is Kenya, I don't.
She's supposed to be here, but I haven't seen her.
She was a hero that night. She's a true angel for those that were inside that apartment because, like they said, without her being there, calling 911, alerting the residents by banging on all the windows, we might have had a much different outcome. I was the first on the scene, and it was going, the whole left side of the building was going up in flames. It was very serious. I called for backup. All these officers and others responded to that scene. And as a supervisor, yes, I'm responsible for what goes on in that scene, but I gotta be honest, I didn't have to tell them to do anything. They sprung into actions. I didn't have to tell them to go to that building. They went and did it on their own, going up all the way up to the 3rd floor and working their way down and getting residents out of that building and into safety. Overall, it was a great effort between all the firefighters and the police and EMS as well, tending to some injuries. As you can imagine how chaotic this scene was. We had people were just frantic about their apartments going up. We had animals that were trapped inside. So all around, a very good effort by everybody on scene. I'm glad that everyone got out safely. And again, this is not the first time these officers have gone into a scene that's very dangerous, and it won't be the last. Some of them are volunteer firefighters, and they definitely put those skills to use that night. And there are other officers that are not here tonight that worked in the perimeter of the building that also that we recognized in other ways for the assistance they provided to the fire department and helping coordinate the whole scene. So,
Just curious, did you have to break down any doors?
We almost did. We had to try and kick in a couple. I think you and I tried to kick open the door or two. But for the most part, we got everybody out. So.
Terrific. I forgot, I mentioned that Chief Albayar got the community award on Sunday at the community center, but he wasn't there, so I'm going to ask Councilman Corey Spiller to present that award now to Chief Albayar.
Thanks. Chief, Dean, Chris, want to come? So as the mayor said, we presented our community service awards on Sunday. Chief wasn't available. There was a mix-up, I think, on our end with the address. So this is something that we wanted to make sure we presented in person. So 2021 Community Day Awards, Avenel Fire Department, Chief Ayman Elbayar. Ayman Elbayar has served with the Avenel Fire Department since January 2011. During 2020 and 2021, Ayman has served as Chief of Department. The Chief title traditionally is a one-year term. Chief Elbayar's commitment to leadership of the department, his ability to handle any difficult fire, weather-related event, tragic community situation, and a pandemic, the fire department membership requested Chief Elbayar to continue his leadership of us throughout the 2021 year as well. 2022 is coming up. Less than a month ago, Chief Elbayar was in command of the Colonial Gardens apartment complex fire, which, as we just discussed, which was one of the worst fire events the Avenel Fire Department has ever encountered. Ayman led the rescue and evacuation of 32 residents that morning. Chief Elbayar, congratulations.
Everybody knows you already. This is Kenya Smithson, who, as I said a few minutes ago, first what we did is we had the fire guys up. This is the chief of the Avenel Fire Department. We had several police officers up. That's our deputy police officer right there. Some of the officers are still outside, and we thanked them and presented them with a proclamation. I said a little bit of your story.
Yeah.
So what you told me was you weren't supposed to be there at 4:12 in the morning. You were at, I'll just give a quick family party. Brothers needed a ride home, didn't want to do it. Some told you to do it, you did it, and that puts you, God told her to do it. Yes. That puts you on the scene after a quick stop to 7-Eleven. Yes. You turned right into this Woodbine Avenue where you live, further down. Boom, there's a fire. You call 911, you start yelling and screaming, you start hitting your horn, you start knocking on doors. You saved people's lives. But some of the people here, so elaborate on the story. Give me the whole night. Tell me what happened.
Yes, well, God bless everyone who's here today. It's so amazing to see everyone's faces, you know, going along with this spiritual journey. It has been uphill, like it's been so amazing. But the story began it was the weekend, and it was early Sunday morning, Saturday night. I'm hanging out with my family and my friends. I'm like, hey, you know, my brother, we're all just, you know, having a good chit chat. And my brothers, they needed a ride home. And my brother was like, I need you to give me a ride home. But, you know, I have 8 siblings. So my mom always taught us, you know, you look out for each other. You know, if someone needs a ride home, you make sure they get home. So I had to be that sibling. In my mind, I heard, okay, you're the sibling tonight. You got to get everybody home. So I'm like, okay. So I drive everybody home. And my brother lives in Trenton, New Jersey, which he's actually on his way here right now. So it's okay. But I went to go and drop him off. And I was so tired myself, you know when you start to drive on the highway and you're getting so tired that you're getting sleepy. So I started to tear up and cry, you know, 'cause I'm like, all right, God, you haven't taken everybody home, but look, I'm tired, you know? So Father, just give me the strength so I can get everyone home, you know? So I drive him to his house. As I'm going back, I feel this energy in my soul. It's like as I'm driving, I feel something just creeping up and I feel chills down my spine. So as I'm saying, I'm like, okay, God, I know I'm up now, you know? So I'm driving down the highway and, you know, as, you know, when you just know who God is, as everybody who knows, you start to see signs in the sky, the signs start saying certain things and stuff like that. and I started seeing orange, and I'm like, okay, let me, oh, sorry. Let me just,
Okay.
okay. Yes, let me just go on ahead. So I drive on, and I go home, and I said to myself, you know, I'm kind of in the mood for a coffee. Why? I don't drink coffee. I drink hot chocolate and white chocolate, yes. I don't drink coffee. I'm like, but I was craving for coffee. I don't know why. So I got in the car, I said, okay, but the time was like 3-something in the morning, and I'm never out this late. So I'm like, all right, let me just try to just push myself. So I go, I get the coffee, right? I leave my debit card in the car. I'm wondering why it's taking me all this time just to gather up the things. I pay for the coffee. I'm like, good night, sir. Let me just get my butt in the bed. And as I leave out of 7-Eleven, I'm getting towards the stop sign. And as I head to the stop sign, I see an orange flare in the light. And I said, what is that? Now, you know, I'm thinking it's like something sparkling. I'm like, all right, God, here we go again. What more tests are you gonna put me on today? So as I make the left turn, the building in the balcony in the left corner was just on fire. And growing up, I have a very loud voice. I'm the loud sibling at all 8. So I said to myself, God, I see why you brought me here today. Okay, I'm gonna use this voice that you gave me. And I said, fire! I mean, so loud. And I kept hearing him say, scream it, again. And I just kept doing what he told me to do. And the first thought that came to my mind was, oh my goodness, there was a senior citizen at the top 2nd floor. And I seen him go. He opened his curtain up and he's looking at me. And by this time, I can see the smoke gathering up. And I'm banging on everyone's window. Now, at the time, my wrists are hurting, but I didn't care not one bit because I knew that if that was my grandmother, if that was you guys, anybody there, you have to, you know what I mean? I would want them to save my grandmother. I would want them to save my sister, my brother, anybody, you know? So I went in there and I'm banging my foot, I'm kicking and I'm screaming and I'm saying, everybody please, to the point where my body was congealing. I started to have to get nauseous. So I had to calm myself down and I said, okay, I gotta think fast. I said, can you think fast? Okay, what am I gonna do? So here I am, I said, at the front door. I banged on the front door. I did karate when I was a kid. So I take my right foot and I hit the door and I'm like, all right, with all your strength. And I said, Jesus, on the count of 3. And when I said it, I just pulled it open and the whole thing went boom and broke open. The pregnant lady who was upstairs, and she was screaming and she was saying, can you please help me, help me, help me? And the first thought that came to my mind, okay, my smoothie was right there. I'll be fine, you know what I mean? I just want everybody out of this building right now. So I immediately call 911. I run up and I gather her and her son. She's panicking at this point because I can come down the steps. I've never in my entire 26 years of life seen fire blaze that high. I mean, it was like, and Lord, I know this is a wig, so my edges was just everywhere. I went and I said, oh Lord, fly off in the wind somewhere. I said, oh my goodness. And she's screaming, and I'm like, oh, and the fire is just going up in the air. And I'm like, you know what? I said, oh my God, I'm shaking at this point. The senior citizen guy, I'll never forget his face. He just looked at me and shook his head no, but I looked at him and I said, I'm gonna get you out of here. You know, I don't care who it takes, and that's when the police people, they arrived, and the EMT, you know, and the fire department came, and I was letting everyone know, there, you know, I'll make sure everybody gets out of that building. I still cry to this day because the 2 cats died, but, you know, I'm an animal lover, so it was like I wanted everyone to get out safely, and, oh, that was like, still to this day, the biggest moment of my life.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't even say anything after that. Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah.
I mean, this is coming from me as the mayor, but he's the Assembly Speaker, and he's going to have one of these for you at some point, too.
We're actually going to invite you to Trent to come get it in front of the entire legislature, so this you deserve it. So we're going to make sure we get your phone number. No, look, I think the story speaks for itself. Your quick actions, your courage, your commitment to community, your faith, everything that could possibly went right in order for you to be able to save those people. Look, it was a horrible, tragic event for everybody, and I can't imagine the emotional stress that so many of you here felt that night. But thank God for you. Thank God you were there. Thank God. And maybe you should drink coffee on a more regular basis. On the off chance that somebody else needs you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Met everybody since then, or whatever. There's a couple of people here, but they all want to meet you, and we'll have a good time talking to them. But
I'd love to do a picture with families.
if you guys don't mind being on TV, taking a picture, you want to say something? Come on up. Have you guys met before this? No. No.
Since that day, I don't know how many times I think of you and I pray to God. If not for you, I don't know what would happen to our families. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. So much gratitude I feel. I mean, if not for you, things could have gone so much more bad. Thank you so much. Thank you to the police department, the firefighters, who all were there for us. I mean, you often see such things on TV and you'll be like, oh my God, that looks horrible, that looks tragic and all that too. But actually be in that scene emotionally, mentally, it takes a toll over you. But at the end of it, you just look back and we lost a lot of things. But at the end of the day, we know we are alive, our families are safe, all of us were evacuated. And if not for you, I don't think so, if that would have happened. If not for your craving for coffee that day, I don't know what would have happened. I thank you, and I can't thank you enough.
Rise for pledge allegiance. A moment of silence for our men and women serving in our military. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home News Tribune, the Starlet, published a notice on December 18th, 2020. It's posted on the municipal bulletin board and should be so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Councilman Spiller.
Here.
Councilman Ficarra.
Here.
Councilwoman Meehan.
Here.
Councilwoman Drum. Councilman Patel.
Here.
Councilman Anderson. Councilwoman De Jesus.
Here.
Vice President Bauer.
Here.
And President Small.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from October 5th, 2021?
Motion? Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Beginning with second reading ordinances this evening, we will take letter A, which is an amendment to Chapter 2 entitled Police Department. And this is a revisions to the quantity of the upper echelon of the police department, as well as changes in the Oprah fees. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be opened?
Motion? Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter A only. Hearing no comment, can I get a motion that the public portion be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion? Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter B, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 traffic of the revised ordinance of the general township ordinances. I'm sorry, this is to designate electric vehicle parking spaces. I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open.
Motion? Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter B only. Hearing no comment, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion? Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter C is a bond ordinance to authorize the acquisition of real property for the construction of a parking lot in the total amount of the bond for $700,000. This is with regards to the property at 415 New Brunswick Avenue in Fords. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion? Second.
Any questions or comments from council?
As Mr. mentioned, I'd like to thank the mayor and administration and my fellow councilmates
providing necessary parking for the businesses and residents of downtown Fords. Over the past few years, we had issues with parking. It's got to alleviate a lot of those problems down there at this time. I'd like to thank everyone for their support on C and D. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter C only.
Good evening, Tom Harris, Clinton, New Jersey. In regard to letter C, it's a $700,000 expenditure. Exactly how will that benefit the residents of Woodbridge Township, and particularly Fords?
One thing, Mr. Maris, is parking for the merchants. There's not a lot of parking down there. So in order to be, for the merchants to be successful, there has to be parking.
I'm sorry, for who to be successful? I couldn't quite hear you.
The merchants, the store owners.
Oh, okay. So which exactly where is that located right now? Is that down near
Okay.
the corners, or is that the other end?
Mr. Maris, if you're looking at the Ford's VFW, to the property to the right,
I know where that is.
corner of Hornsby.
Good. Anything that'll help promote Fords and get more business back in there, it's got to be good. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on letter C from the public? Here another comment. Can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adoption vote be continued to our next meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter D is an ordinance to actually acquire the property at 415 that we just moved forward with the bond. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any comments from the public on letter D?
John Bertari, Woodbridge. Eminent domain. How many, you're acquiring the property, with eminent domain to put a public parking lot? Where's that actually located?
Where's what located?
I got it.
The property?
Right.
Councilman Bauer just explained it, to the right of the VFW on New Brunswick Avenue in Fords.
So that's the same property? That's the
Yes.
same property?
Yes.
Now, you have to use eminent domain to take it?
No,
Council
it's just
President.
the title.
The title, it's the title of the ordinance. That's how it's titled.
Okay, thank you. Again, is there necessary to actually agree all the places in the parking lots? It's the same place, New Brunswick Avenue, we restrict the parking on the side of the road. Same part of New Brunswick Avenue. You can't park anymore.
No, that was Hope Lawn.
No, where, Mr. Patera? Where are you saying you can't park anymore?
Yeah, by the Hope Lawn there.
By Hope Lawns?
Yeah, when you put the warehouses, you put in those.
This is totally different.
Pardon me?
This is totally different.
No, but it's not the same spot.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
No.
Any other comments on letter D? There are no other comments on letter D. Can I get a motion that the public hearing portion be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter E is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of property at 171 Piper Avenue in Avenel. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter E only. There are no comment from the public. Can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And finally, on second reading, letter F was an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of properties for the purpose of easements for the construction that's going on at Main Street and Route 9. I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter F only. There are no comments from the public. Can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted for the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. First reading ordinances are listed as G and H before you. Can I get a motion that these two ordinances be passed on first reading, published in the Home Distribution on November 5th, 2021, with notice of public hearing to be held on November 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And finally, Mr. President, we have resolutions number 1 through 28, everything inclusive 1 through 28. Can I get a motion to approve them?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions from council?
I'll be abstaining from number 20.
Mr. Mitch?
Yes, sir.
On Resolution 14A, I just want to thank the mayor and the administration for applying for the 2022 Local Freight Impact Fund for the paving, milling and paving of Randolph Avenue from Hart Street to Route 1. It's a traveled road, and any assistance is always greatly appreciated, so thank you.
Any other comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. Stand by, please.
Oh, no, couldn't get it.
You ready? At this time, we'll go to the open public portion of the meeting. Please go up to the microphone, state your name, where you live, and you have a 5-minute period.
My name is Andrew Nagy. I live in Fords, New Jersey. Been a resident of Woodbridge Township since I've been 4 years old. I've served on the zoning board of this township for 14 years. And I got my newspaper early this morning, the New York Post, and reading the headline, it said, Biden's secret flights. This covers the transportation of unescorted young people around the United States. And I read this, and I kept reading it, and it said, migrants shuttled into New York on Air Biden. What has that got to do with Woodbridge? Well, let me tell you. I continued reading, and the more I read, the less hungry I became. It's that last Wednesday, the New York Post saw 2 buses leave the Westchester Airport carrying about 100 passengers who arrived on a McDonnell Douglas MD 83. One bus stopped at the Thomas Edison service area off the New Jersey Turnpike in Woodbridge, where the migrants got off around 12:45 a.m. on Thursday. Over the next 2 hours, they were driven away in cars by people who met them there without anyone appearing to have to show identification to the officials overseeing the operation. Former Westchester County Executive Ron Astoroni, a Republican candidate for governor, said when he held a news conference at the airport, a flight arrived carrying passengers who got onto a bus and said they spotted at least 50 to 75 migrants, most of whom to appeared young men, 20 years of age and older. How in the world did Woodbridge Township get selected to be a dumping ground for immigrant children, illegal aliens, coming into the United States, and we know nothing about it? We have to read about it in the New York Post. Mayor, do you know anything about this?
Sir?
Yes.
You can address your questions through me, please.
Okay. Could you ask the mayor if he knows anything about this?
Mayor, are you aware of this?
You just described the fact that we're not a dumping ground because they were picked up and taken away. They just happened to stop on the turnpike at a gas station that happens to be in Woodbridge. We have gotten no information about that operation, none whatsoever. We have not been contacted by anybody. So it's purely coincidental that they stopped at a gas station on the New Jersey Turnpike that happens to be in Woodbridge. It's got nothing to do with the Township of Woodbridge.
It just so happens that it happens to be in the town that I live in.
Me too.
It happens to be in a town where I no longer am able to vote on the Board of Education budget. I happen to live in a town where I don't even know if these young children are going to be going into the schools that we support through taxes. My taxes go up $300 a year, every year. I'm now paying $10,500 a year on a 1,300 square foot ranch house in Fords. Are these children going to be going to the schools in Woodbridge Township? Who knows? I don't know. I see no one here from the media to report on any of this. I see no one here to apprise the community of what is going on. And I was just outraged this morning that this is happening in the town that I've lived in for the past 84 years. Where are we going? When 9/11 took place, the council at that time was a Democratic council in Woodbridge Township. John Ashcroft and George Bush came up with the Patriot Act. The council at that time was very opposed to the Patriot Act because it was said they were stepping on the freedoms of the people of the United States. It just so happened that they weren't. But nevertheless, and they voted to condemn the Patriot Act at that time after 9/11. Is this council going to condemn this kind of activity taking place in Woodbridge Township? I would urge you to do so. I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments this evening from the public?
Good afternoon, all of council. My name is Thomas Zambrowski. I'm a student at Rutgers University. I am taking a public administration class right now. So one of my assignments was to come here and to observe what goes on in these meetings. So I do just want to thank all of you for your time. I do have a question regarding liquor license renewals. So President Small, does the police department submit any police reports prior to the renewal of businesses' liquor licenses?
I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Mitch. He handles the liquor licenses.
Thank you very much.
So I work with the police department to review all licenses before they're renewed.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mitch, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public this evening?
Hello, everybody. My name is Joe Zullo from Port Reading. I've been in the town for 67 years of my life. I'm very proud to say for 35 of those years, I served as a volunteer fireman for the Port Reading Fire Department. In those years, I also became the chief fire coordinator for 11 years. For people that don't know what fire coordinators do, we get called out to major scenes where towns need coverage from other towns. And it's our job not to strip one side of town of fire apparatus. So it's a very serious job. I'm no longer there. I retired from that. And I took up another task in my township, and I became a fire commissioner. And I served proudly for 18 years as a fire commissioner. I have ran for office in my own town for quite a few times. And I have never had a person, and I've been on TV, I've had the light a few times because it was our job to inform the media what went on during fire scenes and how many fire trucks were there, how many amount of manpower. So I never had anybody come up to me and tell me that, wow, you're running for election again? So you grab a camera and now, so you can get on TV and make another run for it so you can tell everybody what you did. I just happened to be cruising through, and this is the truth, cruising through the TV the other night, and I haven't put Channel 35 on in a long time because I have no need to, I have no reason to. And I caught the tail end of a conversation, and it involved my good friend Corey Spiller, who I've known. I believe Corey's been in the fire service for 27 years, and I've been in the fire service for 35. I have known Corey for many years. I have been to Avenel on many mutual aid calls, and I can assure you, I was told, especially I could talk for Avenel, the last person or people they want to talk to is the media and grab the spotlight. The reason why I'm here today is because there was a remark made, and the gentleman, I've known him all his life with his family. I am shocked for the remark he made about saying that basically the fire that Corey was at was a small fire. If my memory recalls, there were 6 families taken away from their home. I think that gentleman owes Corey and anybody that was listening on TV 35 an apology for making a stupid statement like that. And I talk from my heart. I don't talk from a script, okay? I think the man should be ashamed of himself. Again, I have been with Corey on calls, along with a lot of people up here that I just don't need to mention their names because they all know who they are. We have left birthday parties. We have left wedding anniversary dinners when that alarm goes in. I can just think back of all the years that I lost with my family, and to hear that on TV, and believe me, if I was 15 seconds earlier, I wouldn't be here because I wouldn't have heard it. I heard it with my own ears, and I'm just here to say that was not right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments this evening from the public? No, hearing no other. I'm sorry. Any subject.
Hi, my name's Sean Sklasik. I live at 194 Clinton Street. I've probably lived here almost 6 years, homeowner. It just has to do with the lights at the skate park. I've been skating there since I was 17 years old. I'm 36 now. I've never seen the lights on until you guys actually, thank you for rebuilding that skate park. But when the guys were working on it, they had the lights on. It was the winter time, and I said, why aren't the lights being turned on normally in the winter? I get home at 5 o'clock, I eat dinner, and I can't even skate, I can't take my daughter there. And I was just hoping to have the lights turned on.
So the lights aren't on now, like tonight? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
they've never been on. I've been skating there since I was 17, and they've never been turned on.
The one on Rolway Avenue?
Yeah, right before the train tracks?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll look at it. When they maybe get turned on in the winter from like
We'll take
5.
we'll take a look into that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments this evening from the public?
Good evening. Case on Little, Elizabeth, New Jersey. So, you still haven't addressed the racism, discrimination in your town. You sit there, and while you're in the midst of a re-election, which you are running unopposed, you sit there and you pat yourself on the back like you continue to do a phenomenal job, and you serve everyone's best interest at heart. You don't. You don't. You continue to sit there, you be reactive instead of being proactive, and you hurt and ignore and neglect the community who is hurting and suffering the most, which is the small black community you have here in Woodbridge. I am so disgusted at what I heard earlier regarding labeling immigrants, human beings, as illegal aliens. No one is illegal on stolen land. This is stolen land. And whether you refuse to accept it or not, get with the program. You're in the 21st century. Christopher Columbus didn't discover a damn thing. This is stolen land. So if you want to fit in America's racist ideologies like that and think that you are proud patriots, and of course you are, because your privilege exempts you from the potential violence that black and brown people in this country face, you will never feel a sting of discrimination or blatant racism like black and brown people do in this country and in this community. Turn your heads, suck your teeth, roll your eyes. I see it. I'm used to it as being black in this country, because that's what you do best. And it's disgusting. It's immoral. It's incompetent. It's inhumane. It's complacent. You should resign effectively immediately. You do no one any justice by sitting there. You sit there and you be an occupant. And you just take up space instead of producing real life, positive results that will remedy pain, trauma, and suffering. That's symbolic. That's not justice, that's not accountability, that is symbolic. And that does no one any justice, that does no one any good. You failed to act. You failed to include the community in the process. You failed to remedy preventable pain. It's all preventable. But you're not affected by it. You're not directly impacted by it. So that's why you don't give a damn. Because it's not hurting you or your loved ones. And we told you time and time again, have a heart generated by love and care and do the right thing, the moral thing, the just thing to do. But you will never do that because your upbringing is very telling. And it is immoral. It is disgusting. You can remedy tragedies right now. Racial profiling, discrimination that's happening right now, that's going unseen and unheard of. But the ones that you do know about, like Najir Parks being one, and the names and the list go on and on and on and on, that you had the audacity to dismiss his claims in his case, which it was real, it was vital. You're on the map. Woodbridge had been on the map. Woodbridge had been put on notice for months and time again. This entire state knows about Woodbridge, the home of the greatest, right? Everybody know about it. And you have that power to change. But you won't change, so that power needs to be taken away from you. And you need to be not re-elected. But new leadership is deemed necessary. People who care, people who are in love with justice. Real justice. Not just you show up at a rally one day for photo ops and add it to your campaign book, and then you go back and you continue to accept funds from those same racist organizations. That's not justice. That's not what we ask about. I know you're very uncomfortable up there, but imagine how uncomfortable those are that are living this type of trauma. So I don't give a hell about you being uncomfortable. You need to hear the community who's hurting and suffering the most. You need to remedy their pain, their trauma, and their suffering. And you have the power, you have the capacity to do this right. But you failed to act. You failed to do it. And that's why you need to resign as shame. And all that power that you have needs to be taken away from you.
Thank you. Your time is
I
up.
don't yield back.
Are there any other comments this evening from the public? Any other comments this evening from the public?
Good evening. James Dabrowski, Woodbridge proper. This past weekend, legendary New Jersey activist Larry Hamm completed the Long March for Justice, a 67-mile trek across the state to demand police accountability. The 67-year-old Hamm led his People's Organization for Progress from Montclair to Trenton on a historic 9-day march that was endorsed by over 20 other civil rights organizations. On Monday, October 11th, the Long March for Justice passed right here through Woodbridge Township. An Insider NJ article was published that day entitled, "Hamm has message for Coughlin heading into Woodbridge," and I'll share a few excerpts. Since the 2020 police killing of George Floyd, Larry Hamm stepped up organizing efforts to get the New Jersey legislature and Governor Phil Murphy to champion a bill to enable New Jersey municipalities to create civilian complaint review boards with full subpoena power. He punctuated his push for the legislation this month with an ongoing week-long march on foot to the state capitol. Insider NJ caught up with the activists marching along Route 27 in Woodbridge, the hometown of Speaker Craig Coughlin, who entertained the bill earlier this year before deciding against posting it in the Assembly. Please post the bill, Ham said in a message to Speaker Coughlin. We're walking from Montclair to Trenton to highlight the issue of police brutality and to demand the NJ legislature pass legislation to hold police accountable. First and foremost, we demand passage of A4656/S2963, the Police Review Boards with Subpoena Power Bill. Sponsored by Assemblywoman Angela McKnight and initially released by committee, it remains for the Assembly Speaker and Senate President to post it and the legislature to vote on it and pass it. This is something we've been demanding for over 60 years, ever since New York City created a police review board. But police unions don't want the legislature to pass the bill. It's not an accident that we don't have civilian review boards, said Ham. Police organizations pressure legislatures to keep them from creating them. I don't understand what the problem is. The world didn't end in New York City when they created a police review board. The sky didn't fall. New York police have some of the best contracts. They simply don't want people to have authority over the police. We have the epidemic of COVID-19, and we also have the epidemic of police brutality, he noted, waving to approving drivers on Route 27. After George Floyd, all our elected officials said what happened was terrible, but since then, very little has been done to create concrete initiatives so that we don't have future George Floyds. Ham said he's marching to meet the countervailing pressure from police unions. He suspects the leadership in the legislature believes that if they hold something back long enough, community interest support will wane. That's why we're out here marching, he added, so it doesn't wane. And march they did, every day despite heavy rains and body aches and pains. Assemblyman Benji Wimberly said he believes legislative leadership will move on the Civilian Complaint Review Board legislation after the November 2nd elections. It will be a priority in the next session, he told Insider NJ. Everyone is focused on campaign season right now, but if we are going to call ourselves progressives, we have to be progressive. Activists are also demanding that Governor Murphy veto a police union-backed bill, which was fast-tracked through the legislature, that would allow police to view body cam footage before issuing their reports. Additional police accountability initiatives that were highlighted during the march include a bill to make officer disciplinary records public, a bill banning and criminalizing chokeholds, a bill establishing requirements for use of deadly force, and a bill ending qualified immunity in New Jersey. Now, these anti-racist police reform bills are obviously desperately needed here, as Woodbridge currently has at least 2 civil rights lawsuits filed against our police department due to blatant anti-black racism. With a Civilian Complaint Review Board with subpoena power, we the people of Woodbridge would have oversight of our police force and have our eyes and ears behind the notorious blue wall of silence. In fact, I understand an internal investigation is currently underway regarding the terrifying bigotry some Woodbridge cops have been publicly exhibiting online. And the usual response of, we've investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing, is no longer acceptable. We demand police accountability and transparency. We demand justice for Nigeria Parks and Jeremiah Daniels Porter. We demand real change, as we all know it's long overdue. Council President, where does this council and mayor stand on these vital police reform bills? Are you in support of them or opposed to them?
We have no comment.
No comment?
No comment.
Okay, and also, Mayor John McCormick was recorded callously refusing to affirm that Black Lives Matter, even going so far as to call our nation's largest racial justice movement, quote unquote, awful.
When did I do that, when did you hear me say that, Mr. Dabrowski?
You want me to show you the recording? Are you kidding me?
When did you hear me say that?
I'll play you the recording, sir. Yeah. Right now I'll play it. You said it's awful. Does the mayor still feel the same, or has his heart changed at all since then?
That is not
true. Will you say Black Lives Matter, Mayor McCormick? Prove me wrong then. Say Black Lives Matter.
That is not true. What you're saying is not true.
So say Black Lives Matter. Mayor McCormick, will you say Black Lives Matter? That is not true, so that wasn't you on the recording? You said, I'm not going to say that because that would imply support for the movement. I think the movement's awful. Your exact words, sir. You deny it?
No, sir. No, sir.
Wow. Wow, lying. You're a liar.
Any other comment from the
Shame
public
on
this
you.
evening? Any other comment from the public this evening?
Black Lives Matter.
Hi, good evening. My name is Paul DeLeo, and I am from the Port Reading section of Woodbridge Township. I just had a couple of comments that I wanted to bring to light today. Starting off with the town, I've been a lifelong resident of Woodbridge Township, and I'm very, very proud of that. But recently, there was a large fire in the Avenel section. I've dedicated my life to public service, emergency services, but I wanted to say a couple things about that fire and about all fires in general and emergencies in general. Starting with the response from our emergency services personnel. I'm very proud to see the way that the emergency services personnel in this township works together. And I want to say that on all aspects, because they provide a service on many different levels. You know, they provide support when it comes to education, public education. That starts with leadership. Leadership from this council, leadership from the fire prevention bureaus in each one of the fire districts that we have. I want to compliment the fire prevention bureau from District 5. They do a great program all the time, but I mainly want to focus on this one fire because I've heard there's comments that are going around by possible people running for election that are minimizing and saying it was a small fire. Let me tell you something. There's no small fire. They start small, but they don't want to be small. They want to take things from us. They want to take our lives. They want to take our property. And I know that the firefighters in Avenel and the rest of the mutual aid companies that worked at that fire fought with pride and dedication to put that fire out in a quick fashion. The first things that firefighters know is building construction. That building in particular had the potential to take lives. There was a great response by the District 5 Fire Department and great leadership by the fire commissioners who put that team together. And I know them personally, and I'm very, very proud to be associated with them. But let's just take it a step further. I don't know if I heard this somewhere, but there was a comment that said, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal, it wasn't a big fire. Well, if this person that I heard they came from was running for election, this is not the kind of person I want in leadership. That minimizes the tragedy of 11 families that are displaced. You know, we always want to protect life. That's our jobs. Life safety is always first. Second is we want to stabilize the incident. But the third thing is property conservation. They lose things that are irreplaceable, okay? And that is damaging to not only your psyche, but your life itself. Your life is altered. And I know the firefighters did a great job. They should be proud of themselves. But I guarantee you, in the back of every one of those firefighters' minds is, I wish I could have got there, wish I could have done a little bit better. I wish I could have saved their property as well so they didn't lose anything. That's what they strive for. And I know that the fire commissioners of Avenel have done a great job in bringing their career side, their volunteer side together. And this township, through the support and leadership of the council, the mayor, and everybody else, has always supported each other. And that's what makes this town great, is because when that thing happens and somebody's displaced or somebody has a tragedy, you all get behind them. There's always some type of support, whether it's emotional, whether it's just the support to be there, whether it's starting a charity or something, or providing the resources. That's another thing that happens all the time, is that the township always seems to be there to provide the resources to help the families out in that immediate need. You know, everybody else wants to get behind them, but the township and the fire district, they always work together on providing that thing that they need. So anybody making that kind of comment should not only not be in a leadership position for the township, it's ignorance. It's ignorance and apathy. Nobody in this room that I know of on the council, mayor, and emergency services, from the police department, from the fire departments, from the volunteers and career, are apathetic to somebody's loss. We're always conscientious and compassionate. That's the one thing that's great about being in emergency services, is you have compassion. Before the call, after the call, during the call. We're always trying to do that. And I just wanted to say that I'm very, very proud of Councilman Spiller in the multiple roles that you have. When it comes to fire prevention, you've done a great job. I know you personally for many, many years. The fire commissioners of Avenel and the firefighters of Avenel and all the mutual aid companies that respond to that. Because it's not a small fire. Maybe it starts small, and that fire had the potential to take lives, a lot of lives, because of the time of day, the type of construction. That's one of the things that firefighters study, is the type of construction. Had a mansard roof, which it could have traveled the entire roof. So I think everybody did a great job. But just keep that, the public should keep that in the back of their mind. That somebody using those apathetic, hurtful words that it was just a small fire should not be in a leadership role of anything. It's disgusting, it's ignorant, it's damaging. I'm so happy that the leaders that I see in this room would never have that type of attitude. That it's always a community, it always builds up each other, it always looks out for each other. It's the way a community should be. And I'm proud of this community that I live in, that I've always lived in, and I constantly see it getting better. So I commend the council, I commend the fire district from District 5 and all of the other fire districts. So I'm proud of that. Thank you.
Are there any other comments this evening from the public?
Good evening, Tom Maris, Fords, New Jersey. The thing I want to speak to At the last meeting, there was a very nice young black couple here, and they were wanting to address some of the things that the health department spoke to. And unfortunately, there was not a Q&A that would allow us to do that. But there were some questions that were asked about St. Joseph's and also the schools and whether our health department is involved in the inspection. At that time, their answer wasn't given, but subsequent to the meeting, I was informed by a member of the administration that neither St. Joseph's nor the school districts fall in the purview of our health department. I'm not faulting anybody, it's just a point of clarification because I had raised the question whether they were going to be responsible for anything that had transpired either with the schools in the cafeteria section or at St. Joseph's. The answer is no, they're not, and I guess under state law, they're not required to be. So I just wanted to clear that point up and say our health department does a good job, but that's not their responsibility. And I wanted to make that clear. And I think the young couple wanted that answer as well. Moving on, I was going to address something that came up at the other meeting too, and that was the decorum issue. The young man here that was rather excitable and typically is, was citing instances where he was being apparently berated or even harassed, according to him, about not conforming with the decorum. I remember that decorum very well. In fact, I got through an Oprah request, a copy of it again. And I stand by the decorum. It's something that we do need. Of course, if there's any violation in there as far as First Amendments, that would have to be addressed in a separate issue. But generally speaking, it's a well-protected, a document we need, and the public should be aware of it. When you come here, there's a certain decorum that should be followed on the parts of all. And in that regard, I have to just speak out. The mayor was wrong this evening for yelling back at the gentleman that was here. That broke decorum according to your own rules. I understand why he did it. It's an excitable issue, and it's one that's regrettable. It's a shame that racism keeps sneaking in where it doesn't have to be. And I am somebody that has lived all around the world. I've experienced racism because of my color, my religion, my country of origin, in ways that actually threatened my life. And in all honesty, I could have been killed at certain times because of who or what I was. So I do know it. And I remember, I think more than anybody else here, the riots in Newark. I was in the riots in Plainfield, New Jersey when they happened back in the 60s, and in New York City. There were horrible things to see. There were horrible things to see how people were being treated. People of this country who are citizens should never have happened, and we have come a hell of a long way from that time in history. But again, to sit here and berate the council, our town, our police department as being a racist organization, having systemic racism in this country, I totally disavow that, and I think this town is one of the better towns around.
Excuse me, Mr. Maris. Are
I'm
you
sorry.
filming? You're supposed to be in there.
I don't want to adjust the pointing, so I was waiting for you.
Are you filming?
So you don't have to.
Are you filming?
I am. Yeah.
Then get in where you're supposed to be.
Please use your words.
Excuse me?
Please use your words. You don't have to point any of human being.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm sorry, can I have my
Go ahead,
time?
Mr. Yes, you'll have your time back.
Thank you.
Excuse me? You can leave. Escort him out, please.
He wants a lawsuit. You give him That's not how public relations should be run.
You can leave too. Escort him out too, please. Officer?
Go on, apologize. You're concerned to get back. Big mistake, sir.
Okay. How much do I have left?
I'll start in about 10 seconds.
Okay. Thank you. Again, I'm
It
just
was,
glad that I
it was
brought
stopped
that up.
also. I'm sorry. I had stopped it, so.
And how much, I'm sorry.
You have a minute and 37 seconds.
Okay, I'll try to get it all in that period of time. Again, I'm sorry those kind of emotional outbreaks, but I almost have to agree with them too. People should be able to speak, not debate back and forth according to the decorum, what they have on their minds. And to kick them out of a meeting for that minor of offense, I think is wrong. I would say that they may even have an open meetings public complaint for doing that. I just don't see it right. And in that regard, I wanted to speak to something that the council used to do. Years ago, I think there's one or two members left on the board. We had meetings every week for the council. And we were able, the public, have an actual dialogue back and forth. Now we're limited to 5 minutes. At a point in time, we could even speak to the council members about their particular agendas. We can no longer do that. We're relegated to basically having a little more open discussion when it comes to ordinances, and then when we get into the 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes and you're done. That really isn't fair. And in fact, I find it rather un-American. I mean, this council gets up and salutes the flag, and I've chastised Mr. Dombrowski for sitting there while we're saluting the flag and saying the Pledge of Allegiance to it. But I do have to give him the respect of saying he has the courage of his own convictions. I find the council kind of lacks that, in that you won't allow the public to go back to where we had that kind of open dialogue and could have a real ongoing exchange with you, rather than saying, get your questions in, and if you've got enough time left, we might answer you. That's really not the way this government is supposed to work. And I hope you'd stop and reflect upon how you're doing it, because it's not fair, it's un-American. And thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments this evening?
Amber Jarrett, Woodbridge proper. I certainly don't agree with coming here and in calling you racist, calling you names. I do think there are issues in this town, and I question the validity of the statement that systemic racism doesn't exist. But I do also believe in honesty and transparency from elected officials.
You want to see Black Lives Matter? You want to see Black Lives Matter? What's wrong with the movement?
Just to be clear, you did say it. Maybe you wish you hadn't, but I think there's something to be said about, oh, sorry, I can't turn his phone off in this big girl. There's something about owning your mistakes and being truthful and not misrepresenting who you are and what you actually believe. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the public this evening?
Frank Trumbator, Strawberry Hill Avenue. Good evening, council. First, I'd like to report that the resurfacing of Ruddy Place has been completed. The lines are striped, the curves are straightened out, the branches that had to be cut down were picked up. It was a great job. The senior engineer, Ron, worked with us, and the Township Public Works did a wonderful job. The street looks great. And I thank the township for its attention to that matter. And I also promised the township one other thing to council tonight. There will be no political theater from me. I'm here to represent some of the mothers of Woodbridge and other places in the state of New Jersey. And I'm going to describe a situation that occurred Saturday night, but I'm not going to identify the member of the administration. If they wish to identify themselves to you later, that's fine. My wife, as they were introduced, called him evil or Satan or something. Now, if he thinks I'm going to get in the middle of that between her and him, he's nuts. I stayed alive this long in 50 years. It's because I don't get in the middle of that. But he needs to know why, and you need to know why. I have said this before, and I'll say it again. Your worry is not from riots. Your worry is not from marches. Your worries are from the mothers and the grandmothers that don't want to vote you out of office. They want to tie you to a stake, skin you alive, and burn you because you are forcing masks on 2-year-olds, yelling and screaming to keep the mask on. 3-year-olds yelling and screaming to keep a useless mask on. And I will say useless because I was trained by the United States Navy in nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare. And if I showed up with a paper mask or any of the masks anybody's wearing to a bio drill, I'd still be doing push-ups 53 years later. The kids got to get away from the kids. Leave them alone. These women want to go after you. They are angry. They have lawyers. They're down in Trenton. They're in Homedale. They're pulling the kids out of school. This is he needed to know why he was addressed this way. I'm telling him. That's why. You have to think about this. You have to consider this. I hear a lot of things here. And last time I was here, there was a little bit of political theater, I admit that. But it's a sore spot with me. As an Italian, I have been prejudiced against since I was 18 years old in the Navy. I was always sent down into the bilges to paint the bilges. I was always sent to do the lousy jobs, especially down south. I remember the signs that said sailors and dogs keep off the grass. We don't serve military. And the same people are complaining about racism there. Their mothers and fathers spit on us and called us baby burner. But that's okay. That's okay. The Italians have been taking this racism a long time. It came right from the White House this time. It's coming all the way downhill, Murphy, all of them. You don't like Italians? Great. I told my son to change his name. I really did. Because he shouldn't continue this way with you people. But that's the way it is. This is what we have to live with. But I beg you, stop with the kids. Lay off the children with the masks. Is anybody here a parent? It's hard enough keeping clothes on a 2-year-old. And you're trying to keep a mask on a 2-year-old? Are you serious? My grandchildren, my 5-year-olds, as soon as they hit the front door, start taking their clothes off. Like their shoes all over the place, coats, shirts. You have to think about this. These mothers are especially special needs. These kids don't understand when you're trying to stick on their face. You're screaming and crying about going to school. My oldest daughter had to pull her youngest one, her 5-year-old, out of kindergarten in public school. She put her in a private school where no mask was required. I saw her for the first time since she left on Sunday. I said, how you like your new school, sweetheart? She goes, no mask. First thing she said to me, no mask. You have no idea what you're doing to these kids. It's not right. It really isn't. And if you're going to force the vaccine, you're going to force a real problem. I'm telling you up front.
Thank you, Mr.
They're your problem.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening?
John Bertari, Woodbridge. Only 5 minutes, right? There's a lot of stuff we brought in tonight. And of all those years, we got ourselves in a mess. Never before we had such a problems. We can't believe just the mayor. We can't believe you people. We all this together. But what's going to be next? We're going to say no more Christmas. We celebrated St. Patrick's Day. We celebrated Columbus Day. It's beautiful. This is Woodbridge. This is America. What are we doing? What are we doing? And although that's when you bring through the partners. Happened to all the big cities before, same kind of problem, because the goddamn apartments they built. People came in there, and so speaking, they don't think it's the same like where they came from, but they want to make it the same. But again, talk about immigrants. There's immigrants, and there's illegals. I happened to be an immigrant 60 years ago. I ran away from the country when I was 12 years old. I got caught. It took me 3 years to get legal papers to get my green card. You people don't know. The United States playing with Russian roulette, like Germany did 2 years ago. Those people in the buses, like Mr. Nagy put it before, I knew individual how they smuggle from Canada to the United States. Cost them $10,500. They work with a certain groups, trucking company, French, Hungarians. They happen to come from Croatia, Yugoslavia. That's how it works. But we do have the right to know who are they. We don't know who are they. 20-year-olds, 20-year-olds, foreigners. They're not kids. They're mature people. They probably know more than most of the people that were brought into hardship. They know what it is to hardship. And if they are legal here, why do we have to smuggle them at night? Why does a Newark, I came 3 weeks ago from Europe, came to Newark airport from Switzerland. There's nobody in the terminals. There's only flight. But why do they bring those people at midnight to Newark Airport? Why are they hiding? What's wrong? They're people, right? If they're legal, why do we have to smuggle them through the state? Mayors that we didn't know what's coming to Woodbridge. You know, usually immigrants, like Hungarian refugees, when I came to the United States in '61, because running against communism, they thought I was a hero over here. They would want to meet me, everybody talked to me. Now, those people, why? Because they are not immigrants, they're illegal. We don't know who they are, what they're going to be. They might be good, but some of them bad, believe me. Even 1 out of 100 is too much. 1 out of 1,000 is too much. But why are they doing it illegally? Because, you know why? We got apartments, we get state money, we get a president's money, Biden's money, and that's how they put them in place. That's what's wrong. But there's a lot of other stuff they want to talk tonight. But again, let's get to the real issues. A lot of people, because of COVID, we do have a problem as the landlords. A lot of people cannot get rent from the tenants because of the COVID-19. And they pay the mortgages, they pay the taxes, but the tenants don't have to pay the rent because of COVID. My question would be, what rights do we have as a township, council people, or who does the thing to enforce the tenants? Or from, I know it's the state money, federal money, to pay those tenants for pay the landlords. Does anybody have any clue how do you go about it? Who you go to? Who do you approach? Because some people get it, some people don't get it. So that's the question. What kind of publishing you know, or what kind of, you know, how do you go about it?
So, Mr. Vitarik, if somebody's getting federal or state money for rent, that's coming down from the government. So you're not going to be able to, we're not going to, as a local...
I know, but okay, but you probably know more than I do, most of us. What government you talking about, the state? Is the Kaufland over there, or you talk about the federal government? I know it's the state money, right? Money comes from the state.
State.
But you would go, what office? I mean, is that housing authority or?
We can't, I'm being advised that we cannot comment on rent situations.
You cannot give people.
Thank you, Mr. Vitarik. If you want to speak after the meeting, I'll be glad to continue your conversation.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening? Here another public comment. Can I get a motion?
Motion, second.
Motion be closed. Any comments or questions? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. We'll go into the agenda session.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. I'll go through my agenda. Number 3, Port Reading Fire and First Aid Squad. Last Saturday, Port Reading had its open house, Port Reading Community Day. Honored to announce that Brian Molnar received the Port Reading Lifetime Achievement Award. Very well deserved for everything Brian has been involved in for the past 40 years. The list goes on forever. I advise you, if you get a moment, to watch on TV 35. He was totally shocked. Me and the mayor kind of played a joke on him, and he was totally shocked that he got the award. So again, congratulations to Brian Molnar, well deserved. I also want to thank all the career firefighters, volunteer firefighters, First Aid Squad and Ladies Auxiliary who participated that day. It was a fun-filled day of games and food, and everybody had a great time. Port Reading First Aid Squad is holding its trunk or treat. It's Monday, October 25th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's in a lot across the street from the Port Reading Firehouse. Please adhere to all COVID-19 guidelines. Pre-registrations for trunks and treaters are required by 10/22. And I know we have quite a few less trunks this year than we had last year. So if anybody would like to do a trunk, please step up. You could contact Erica Mitchie through email, and it is treasurer@prfas.com. Again, treasurer@prfas.com. It's a trunk or treat on the 25th of October, excuse me. And in lieu of an entry fee, we're asking you to bring an unwrapped toy so we could donate to families in need for Christmas. Prizes will be for best trunks. Mayor Max Cafe opened on Monday. I'm happy to announce it is open from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is 18 through 21-year-old students from our Rise Center. So if you have an opportunity to grab breakfast or lunch, please go over to the Mayor Mac Cafe located at 880 West Avenue in Port Reading. Last Sunday, the township was happy to donate the Port Reading Saints Field to the Mayor Joseph DiMarino athletic, what is it, Vito, I'm sorry, athletic complex, athletic complex. The DiMarino family was on hand, of course. There was people from Port Reading that I haven't seen in probably 30 years. It was very largely attended. Mayor DiMarino passed away last year during COVID, and Joe DiMarino hit the nail on the head. They couldn't have a wake, and he couldn't be, acknowledged properly. I mean, he was the mayor of this community, lifelong resident of Port Reading, and it was just sad as everybody else didn't get to wake their loved ones or family members. So, like Joe Jr. said, it was closure for the family, and that was important to the DiMarino's family. So again, I thank everybody for coming out. Just an announcement. Last Saturday, Councilwoman Meehan held a fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. She raised a lot of money. I'm sure she'll touch base on it, but I just want to announce that because she deserves a lot of credit for what she does for sick and injured people in this community, and for those people out there that say, we do nothing and we don't care and this, that, and the other thing. Everyone that sits up in this dais cares about this community and does a lot for this community, more than you could ever imagine, compared to the naysayers that sit out in the audience and do nothing but complain. So thank you to all of them, and that is all I have this evening. God bless all our first responders, and God bless America. Vice President Bauer.
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is in order. A few announcements. Forest Business Community Annual Cruise and Trunk or Treat will be held on Monday, November 1st from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Sipperstein's Paints, 372 North Brunswick Avenue, Fords. Please adhere to all COVID-19 guidelines. Secondly, a new traffic light at the intersection of New Brunswick Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue in Hopeland is now on a flash caution mode, and by law must remain that way for 7 days, so drivers become familiar with it. The light will be completely operational on Tuesday, October 26, 11 a.m., weather permitting. My last announcement is Ford's Club Bar and Baseball tryouts will be held November 9th and 10th. For more information, go online to www.fcbbl.com. That's all I have tonight. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman DeJesus.
Thank you, Council President. Item number 5, Police Community Relations. I am happy to announce once again how proud our police department makes me with the work that they do and their response to addressing social issues. And the Woodbridge Police Department's Safe Place mission is one of their responses. It is geared to enhance the relationship between the Woodbridge Police Department, the LGBTQ+ community, victims of violence incidents, local businesses, schools, and alleys. WPD Safe Place will provide decals to local businesses, school organizations, and alleys, encouraging those locations and entities to clearly post a signage at the entrance and publicly visible areas in the premise as a symbol of a safe haven for victims of LGBTQ crime or anybody that needs a safe place. So I have the decal here, so if you can focus on this. This is what it looks like, and it's what will be placed in all the businesses that wish to participate. So I'm encouraging all business owners in Woodbridge Township and all of our wards, and I'm also encouraging my fellow councilmates to please reach out to your wards and contact Officer Mancini in our police department or Detective Sino, who handles community relations, to get the decals in all of our businesses in town, because it is a great program where, again, we stand up for our community members and where we designate safe places for anybody that has to deal with any kind of bully incidents or bias crimes, especially our young kids who are going through tough times now again, I'm encouraging all the businesses in our town to please contact our police department, community relations, to get the decal and for you to post it in your business. Very, very proud of our police department with this response to something that I feel needs to be addressed. And then item number 10, Free Public Library of Woodbridge. The main library offers small group in-person computer classes to refresh or grow Microsoft Office 365 skills. A new cycle of classes begins every month. Also, Gary Zaritsky, archivist of the Monmouth County Archives, will offer an online library program on Thursday, November 4th at 7 p.m. with guidance on how the life of family photographs can be extended so that they can be passed down to future generations. Online registration is necessary to attend, and now all the photos are on our iPhones or on our computers. So for those of us that have the actual photographs, I think this is something that maybe we should revisit, because especially, we were here recognizing our police department, Avenel Fire, and the rest of the firemen and women that responded to the fire in Avenel, and these families lost everything. And you think about everything that we treasure, especially for those of us that have family photographs. And if there's any way to preserve them, I think that this is a great program, and maybe we should be participating in it. Call the library at 732-634-4450. And on that note, we did recognize our police officers that responded to the fire, Avenel Fire, and all the other fire departments that did. And again, it's just with pride that the Woodbridge community comes together in the midst of tragedy, and they responded, they did their job, which is to be expected, but the fact that the aftermath, was dealt with in a compassionate manner, and that makes me proud of my Woodbridge community. So that's all that I wanted to say. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Spiller.
Thank you, Council President Small. And before I begin, Councilwoman Meehan goes after me. I just want to say what an incredible job you and your team did over the weekend, as you always do. You have an incredible workforce around you, all your loyal soldiers, your friends. We all know somebody that I can't say you recognize two individuals. We happen to know both those individuals, but everybody walked for somebody. Unfortunately, everybody's touched by cancer in some form, and to see the support that came out at that event was just incredible, and Colonia is very lucky to have you. Item number 1, I know it's still a little bit away, but I wanted to announce the details of Avenel's very merry holiday lighting. We will light the 17-foot tree and the 6-foot menorah. The event will be at the Avenel Firehouse on Sunday, November 28th from 4 to 6. Mr. Mitch, myself, and our committee have come up with some new attractions this year, including the Santa train ride and horse and carriage rides. Please join us for our 4th annual event. The good thing about this is it's the day after the Township Light Parade on November 27th. So if not that anyone needs anything to get the holiday juices rolling, but Saturday is the light parade and Sunday's art tree lighting, and it's a good way to kick off the season. So thank you. More information will be come up. I just want to put it out there, so save the date. As Council President Small said, item number 4, a great event at the Now and Joseph D. Marino Sports Complex. You could really tell that was old school, new school, everyday school, Port Reading, seeing some of the people that came back. We're all communities. That is a community, and it was a great event. And I want to thank you, Council President Small, on that, as well as Port Reading Day and your committee. And just like Debbie and Councilman Bauer and Fords and Councilman Patel and Island, Port Reading is very lucky to have you as their council person, as their son. 2 unbelievable events, and you should be very proud, so thank you. The rest of my agenda is in order, Council President. Just a few announcements. Please keep in mind next weekend is Halloween, and while we should always pay as much attention as possible while driving, please be extremely careful driving around with all our trick-or-treaters collecting their treats. I'd just like to say thank you to all our emergency responders, fire, EMS, our Woodbridge Police Department, CERT, and all our public works and township employees. God bless America. Thank you, Council President Small.
Thank you. Councilwoman Meehan.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to read Councilwoman Drum's agenda this evening also. And she just wanted to tell everyone she's doing good. Her daughter's getting married this Friday, and she's feeling well. So I'm going to just pass on what she wanted me to say. Going down to number 4, Chamber of Commerce is having its biggest event of the year tomorrow night. The Chamber thanks all the sponsors, ad journal contributors, donated silence auction items, and their honorees. It will surely be a wonderful evening celebrating the finest people in our town. Going down to number 8, Main Street and Route 9 intersection project improvements are underway to control traffic to this area. This is a tremendous undertaking involving the state, county, and our municipality. The governor was with us here this week, making a public announcement on the start of this $12 million project commitment. Our engineering department is beginning the first phase of this much-needed project in this area. Going down to number 11, the Woodbridge Artisan Guild has been changed to the gallery on Main Street. Mr. Mitch, she asked if you would make that change on her agenda moving forward. This past Thursday, there was a grand opening located at 101 Main Street. It's housed with art from local artists and is open Thursday, Friday, Saturday from noon to 8. Consider stopping in and buying local this year for your holiday items. And number 17, the Arcadia Youth Center. Administration has met with all the principals and the PTOs, starting with Woodbridge Middle School, in preparation to let the parents know about the center. We are attempting to provide transportation to bus the students to the center at the end of the school day. I also have to read for Councilman Anderson, and he just wanted to let everybody know that this Sunday, October 24th, they will be holding an event to give out free kids' jackets, hats, gloves, and school supplies. It'll be at the 145 Avenel Street at 12 o'clock noon, and they will be there until they give everything away. So if you know anybody that's in need of nice warm clothes for the winter, please go down there and get them. Going to my agenda. My agenda is in order. Just a reminder, again, Veterans Day Parade will be on November 14th. We'll be leaving Ross Street School at 1:30, and we'll proceed down 35 to Main Street to Town Hall. Please come out and support our vets. It's important. Last year, we didn't get to recognize our veterans, and they're really, the core of us, and we really want you to come out, take an hour out of your day, and just come out and thank them. It's important. And then as both of my councilmates mentioned, I just want to thank everybody that came out. Sorry, it was an emotional day on Saturday to walk in honor of Anjo and support Angela DeSillis, 2 beautiful colonial moms who are battling cancer. Anna's battling breast cancer, and Angela's battling brain cancer. There were tears, there was laughter, and there was so much love from this amazing community. So, sorry. So many people came out together for not just these 2 moms, but to walk in honor of all those brave warriors that are battling cancer, who beat cancer, and are in memory of those we lost to cancer. I hope the Joe family and the DeSillis family felt the beautiful and heartfelt embrace of this community on Saturday, and will continue to feel it so that it reminds them of how much they are loved and give them strength to fight on. They say no one fights cancer alone, and on Saturday, this community proved it. Thank you especially to the Colonia VFW for preparing the food the day before, then cooking all day for this huge group of almost 400 people. They are truly the best people, and they never stop. Anytime we need help for anybody in this community, the Colonia VFWs are there to step up for anybody. They're veterans, people in need, and also to all of my friends that helped me out. It was a tremendous task this weekend, and it really was amazing. But thank you to everybody that came, that made a basket, that made a donation. You truly make this community a better place to live, so thank you for that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. You have an amazing team.
Yes,
Great job. Councilman Ficarra.
Yes, Councilman Meehan, it was a pleasure to be there and watch you and your posse pull that off together. But it was a very heartwarming event, as you said. If I can just jump into my agenda just quickly, Woodbridge Community Center and the club both have a lot of activities going on. And as I always say, the easiest thing to do is to check their website, njwcc.com or theclub.org, two wonderful facilities that we have in town. The mini golf is pretty cool, the haunted mini golf, and on Halloween itself, children under the age of 12 playing with their parent can play for free. And there are hours open Monday through Friday, 4 to 10, Saturday 12 to 10, and Sunday 12 to 9. Moving down my agenda to item number 4, the mayor's fitness and wellness initiatives. We have just completed our new fitness facility at Captain Carlson Park on Ferry Street. Director Brew, you and your team, thank you for your efforts on that. If you have not seen this fitness equipment, you have to see it. We have it throughout town. It's over at LeGrand Park. This is not just your run-of-the-mill climb on monkey bars, not that I'm opposed to that, but this is actual outdoor equipment where you can do physical fitness and strength training outside. So if you haven't checked out the new park over on Ferry Street, don't go on it yet. Wait a few days, right, Mr. Brew? It's still curing. But it's beautiful. And speaking of Mr. Brew and his department, just a quick overview of the bike share program that was started June 24th and 25th. We have 3 stations right now. Pearl Street, Tansman Park, right down here by the train station. The very same park I talked about on Ferry Street, although it says it's Rankin Park. Is it Rankin Park or Captain Carlson Park? Do we know that? It's one or both. Ferry Street.
Captain Carlson's part of the town on the marina.
I got you. Okay, that explains it. And over on William Street by the Middlesex County Greenway, to date, 3,225 rides and 835 people have used these bikes. If you don't know about them, they're free. You just use your credit card as a safety and protection. You got to make sure that when you're using your phone to take it, make sure that your Bluetooth is on, whatever that means. And it's free. It's free of charge. 6 new locations coming up between now and the end of 2022. Evergreen Senior Center in Colonia, Kennedy Park in Island, Ford's Library in Ford's. West Kelly Street, adjacent to the Island Firehouse, Menlo Park Terrace, over in LeGrand Park and Avenel and Fort Reading Park, adjacent to 4th and South Tappan. Those are all upcoming, and again, that's bike sharing. Moving down a little bit further, item number 12, mental health wellness. The police department started back in March working with some of our agencies when police were called for issues with people suffering from mental health crisis. To date, since March, we have 335 referrals, and this is truly a project to proactively support residents in crisis and prevent arrest and also protect them. And Deputy Police Chief, give the PD my compliments, or our compliments, on a job well done so far. Keep it up. Earlier there was a term about concrete initiatives. If this is not a concrete initiative, I don't know what is. Thank you again to the police department. And finally, I just want to mention, off my agenda, but a nice event coming up this weekend on the 23rd. The Addiction Services Department has a Road to Hope run. It's a 5K. It's at Alvin P. Williams Park. Registration begins at 7:30. The run actually starts at 9. It's a fun run. People tend to dress up in fun outfits because, as I said to you, it is a fun run. But the proceeds are very serious. They're new pathways to recovery, looking at treatment options, safe environment for recovery, and sober living homes. So again, it's the Road to Hope 5K. This Saturday, the 23rd, registration starts at 7:30. You can register online, and there are posters all over, and the run starts at 9 a.m. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Patel?
Yeah, thank you, Council President. My also agenda is in order, but I have one greeting. On Indian calendar, there are like 2 big celebrations coming up. One is the Diwali, another one is the New Year. It's coming up in 2 weeks, so I would like to wish you all happy Diwali and very prosperous and healthy and happy New Year. That's all for tonight.
Thank you. I just have one more announcement. I'm sorry I missed it. Number 17 on my agenda, the light parade. Again, it's going to be November 27th. It's going to be following the holiday stroll on Main Street. It's going to begin at about 6:15, come down Main Street. It's going to go out throughout the whole township again. It's bigger, it's going to be bigger and better than last year. The map is going to be on our township website up in a few days. And please, take a look, get a location close to your house and come out and see this amazing parade. You'll have a lot of fun. Mr. Mitch.
Thank you, Mr. President. My agenda is in order. Just want to highlight 2 items. Number 1, just take note of the 2 new liquor license transfers that I added. And then dropping down to number 5, which is the election. specifically not the general election of November the 2nd, but beginning this Saturday, New Jersey is offering for the first time early voting. In Woodbridge, there'll be one location, which is the Acacia Youth Center at 95 Fort Reading Avenue here in Woodbridge. Polls will be open for 9 consecutive days, every day starting at 10 a.m., closing every day at 8 p.m. with the exception of Sundays at 6. Anyone who lives in Middlesex County can vote early at one of 10 locations, and Woodbridge is offering one of them. And then after the close of the early voting, if you're waiting to vote on election day, you go to your respective location. If you have any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you. Deputy Director Niski.
Thank you, Council President. On my agenda, I have 4 traffic and parking ordinance proposals and 1 handicap parking space addition. And I just wanted to thank everybody for the kind comments about the police department. That's all I have.
Thank you. Director Darden.
Thank you, Council President. Just our standard bi-weekly refunds. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Brew.
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is in order.
Thank you. Business Administrator Simaluka.
Thank you, Council President. Under Administration and Finance, I have a contract for accounting and auditing services. Under Recreation, I have a change order for building interior rehab. I have the 2021 Turkey Trot 5K. And under an add-on for Administration and Finance, I have the FY22 Safe and Secure Communities Grant. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Legal? Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.